Welcome to World Prism. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. It happened quietly. No dramatic crash, no headlines, no sudden market collapse. Instead, it was a subtle shift, almost imperceptible at first, that crept into the heart of Europe's tech industry. The signs were there but easy to overlook. A few missed opportunities, a handful of promising startups relocating, a gradual decline in global influence. In Europe's boardrooms, the realization dawned slowly. Executives and business leaders, once confident in their strategies, began to sense that something fundamental was changing. The conversations grew more urgent, the mood more anxious, as they tried to understand where the momentum had gone. Billions in value and investment weren't simply disappearing. They were being redirected. The capital, the talent, and the innovation that once fueled Europe's growth were now flowing eastward, toward China's rapidly expanding tech sector. It was a transfer of energy and ambition, not just of money. While Europe debated regulations and weighed the risks of new technologies, China was moving forward at breakneck speed. The country was building entire tech ecosystems from the ground up, pouring resources into artificial intelligence, robotics, and autonomous vehicles. Chinese engineers and entrepreneurs were encouraged to experiment, to innovate, and to scale quickly. European firms, often fragmented and cautious, found themselves outpaced by China's coordinated and ambitious surge. While European teams debated and hesitated, their Chinese counterparts were already launching new products, expanding into global markets, and attracting top talent from around the world. The consequences were stark. Europe began to lose out on major contracts, company valuations started to fall, and a growing number of its brightest minds packed their bags for opportunities abroad. The so-called brain drain became a reality, as young professionals and seasoned experts alike sought their futures in more dynamic tech hubs. Europe's famed regulatory power, once seen as a strength, now seemed hollow. What good is the ability to set the rules if there are no homegrown tech giants left to regulate? The continent's influence was waning, and its leaders were left grappling with the consequences of years of complacency. Once a pioneer in technology and innovation, Europe now found itself outpaced and outmaneuvered. The gap between old and new, between tradition and transformation, was growing wider with each passing year. The world was changing and Europe was struggling to keep up. In late-night meetings and urgent strategy sessions, European leaders are finally waking up to a harsh truth. You can't set the rules if you're not even in the game. The global tech race is unforgiving, and falling behind means losing not just market share, but also influence and relevance. The race has changed. It's no longer about maintaining the status quo, but about catching up and finding new ways to compete. Europe is scrambling to regain its footing, to innovate faster, and to inspire a new generation of tech leaders. The question now is urgent and clear. Can Europe rediscover its innovative spirit and reclaim its place on the world stage before it's too late? The future of the continent's tech industry hangs in the balance, and the next moves will determine whether Europe leads, follows, or fades away. China's rise wasn't luck, it was strategy. While the West outsourced, China learned, innovated, and protected its tech sector. The government nurtured tech giants, built a massive domestic market, and then pushed for global dominance. Instead of copying the West, China leapfrogged it, pioneering super apps, mobile payments, and AI. Chinese startups scale fast, fueled by state support and deep capital, while Europe's are bogged down by regulation and fragmented markets. China played chess, Europe played checkers. The result is a tech landscape where China sets the pace, and Europe struggles to keep up. Nowhere is Europe's struggle to keep pace with global technology shifts more apparent than in its storied auto industry, a sector that has long been the pride of the continent. For decades, European automakers set the gold standard for engineering, safety, and design, exporting millions of vehicles worldwide and shaping the very identity of modern transportation. But today, the industry faces a new kind of competition, one that is less about horsepower and more about processing power, data, and digital innovation. As cars have evolved into sophisticated computers on wheels, China has identified and targeted a crucial niche: the development of advanced crash test dummies. These dummies are no longer just simple mannequins. They are embedded with sensors and technology that reflect the latest in safety science. By designing crash test dummies based on comprehensive Chinese body data and leveraging cutting-edge digital modeling, China has set new global standards for automotive safety testing. This move is challenging Europe's long-held dominance in the field and forcing a rethink of what it means to lead in automotive technology. If these Chinese standards become the global norm, European car makers will be compelled to purchase Chinese technology and components just to keep their vehicles on the road and compliant with international regulations. The shockwaves are already rippling through Europe's vast auto supply chain, as suppliers and manufacturers scramble to adapt to this new reality and safeguard their future in a rapidly changing market. Meanwhile, Chinese companies like Pony.ai and WeRide are surging ahead in the race for autonomous driving. Backed by massive government funding, a huge domestic market, and a willingness to experiment at scale, these firms are pushing the boundaries of what's possible in self-driving technology. Europe's legendary mechanical excellence, once the envy of the world, is no longer enough to guarantee leadership. The game has changed, and the rules are being rewritten by software, artificial intelligence, and data-driven innovation. The future of the industry now lies in mastering these new digital frontiers, yet Europe is struggling to keep up, risking its place at the forefront of automotive progress. For a continent that once drove the world forward, finding itself in the passenger seat is a sobering and difficult reality, one that demands urgent action and bold innovation to reclaim the driver's position. The real war is over AI, and Europe is unarmed. China and the US have global AI giants. Europe has talent, but no champions. Fragmented markets, risk-averse investors, and strict regulations stifle European AI startups. The result? Europe depends on foreign tech for its digital infrastructure, risking its autonomy. Leaders warn of digital vassalage, becoming mere consumers in a world built by others. The economic and strategic costs are enormous. Without homegrown AI, Europe's future is shaped elsewhere. The ability to control your digital destiny is now as vital as controlling your borders. Europe's defenses are weak, and the AI revolution won't wait. Money follows growth, and right now, growth is in China. European investors are pouring capital into Chinese tech, chasing higher returns and bigger opportunities. Europe's lack of big investable tech firms creates a vicious cycle. Capital leaves, starving local startups of funding. The Hong Kong IPO market is booming, fueled by Chinese tech listings. Every euro invested in China is one less for Europe's own tech ecosystem. Without deep capital markets, Europe's innovation engine sputters. The talent is here, but the money isn't. The gap widens, and Europe's recovery gets harder. Europe's leaders are finally sounding the alarm. For years, the continent has watched as global competitors surged ahead in technology, innovation, and economic influence. Now, the urgency is impossible to ignore. The stakes are higher than ever, and the message is clear. Europe must act, or risk being left behind in a rapidly changing world. The Berlin summit was a wake-up call for everyone involved. The old strategy, cautious, fragmented, and slow, has failed to deliver results. European leaders now recognize that urgent coordinated action is needed to secure the continent's future. The summit brought together heads of state, policymakers, and industry experts, all united by a sense of purpose and a shared concern for Europe's place in the world. The new plan is ambitious: build and protect European tech champions, simplify regulations to foster growth, and create an environment where innovation can truly thrive. Leaders want to see European startups scale up, compete globally, and set new standards in technology and sustainability. Public procurement will be used as a powerful tool to boost local firms, giving them the support and resources they need to grow. By prioritizing European companies in government contracts, leaders hope to create a ripple effect that strengthens the entire ecosystem. It's a shift from being a passive referee to an active coach, nurturing homegrown innovation, mentoring new talent, and investing in the next generation of entrepreneurs. The goal is to create a culture where risk-taking and creativity are rewarded, not stifled. But Europe's diversity, while a source of strength, also makes coordination incredibly tough. Different languages, regulations, and interests can slow progress, and if protectionist measures go too far, they could isolate Europe from valuable global partnerships. The challenge is to act decisively, balancing unity with openness, or risk falling even further behind global rivals who are moving fast and investing heavily in their own futures. There's broad agreement among leaders about the scale of the problem, but the real challenge lies in execution. Turning ambitious plans into concrete results will require unprecedented cooperation, bold decisions, and a willingness to embrace change. The summit ended with a sense of resolve and optimism. Leaders pledged to work together, break down barriers, and push forward with renewed determination. But the real test begins now, turning words into action and promises into progress. The world is watching to see if Europe can deliver on its bold vision. Europe's future depends on it. The clock is ticking, and every moment counts. Europe stands at a crossroads. The continent has the talent, the market, and the resources, but must act fast. The plan is clear. Shift from regulation to strategy, invest in champions, and unite for digital sovereignty. The risks are real: fragmentation, slow action, and global retaliation. The next few years will decide if Europe sparks a tech renaissance or slides into irrelevance. The world won't wait. The game is on. And for Europe, it's the final quarter. Will it seize the moment or watch the future built elsewhere?